we were discussing about the cooling caused by evaporation. We are taking various examples in which we infer that the cooling is caused by evaporation. We have discussed that when we placed spirit on our hand, then we feel cool. Why it is so? Because the spirit is volatile, and when it vaporizes, then it absorbs the latent heat from our hand. Therefore, we feel cool. To the next. In case of summer days, we use earthen pot. We use earthen pot to cool water. How it is so? Because in case of summer days, the water absorbed at the surface of earthen pot, it vaporizes. When it vaporizes, then it absorbs the latent heat from the earthen pot, thereby cooling it. Hence, we can say that cooling is caused by evaporation. To the next, we have discussed that perspiration in our body is a mechanism to cool us. How? The sweat produced by our body vaporizes. When it vaporizes from our body, it absorbs the latent heat and thereby cooling our body. So the next we were discussing that the cotton clothes used in summer is best. Why? Because the sweat absorbed by the cotton cloth vaporizes, and when the sweat vaporizes, then it absorbs the latent heat from the cotton cloth, thereby cooling it. The next we are discussing that the cotton cloth are best for summer days. Because the cotton cloth absorbs sweat from our body, which is vaporizes in the environment, by absorbing latent heat from our clothes, thereby cooling. Next we will discuss that a dessert cooler works better in hot dry days. We are discussing it works better in hot dry days. Hot means the temperature is higher, dry means the humidity is lower. And we have discussed that in these two conditions, that the temperature is higher and the humidity is lower. In these two conditions, the rate of evaporation is faster. It means when the rate of evaporation is faster from the gases of the cooler, then it will absorb more and more latent heat from the gases, thereby cooling it. When the gases are cooled, then the air passed through it will be cooled down. Hence we can say a dessert cooler works better in hot dry days. The us discuss a dessert cooler works better in hot, dry days because on hot, dry days the rate of evaporation of water from the glasses of the cooler is higher and thereby absorbing more and more, thereby absorbing more and more latent heat, from the gases of cooler, hence cooling it. When the air passes from these gases, they are cool. So the next we will discuss. It is easy to drink tea. It is easy to drink hot tea from a saucer in comparison to a cup. Why? Because a saucer has a greater surface area in comparison to cup. And when the surface area is larger, then the rate of evaporation is higher. When the rate of evaporation is higher from the saucer, then more and more latent heat is absorbed by the vaporizing water, thereby cooling the tea in the saucer rapidly in comparison to cup. The next we will discuss. It is easy to drink hot tea from a saucer in comparison to tea in a cup, because the saucer has greater surface area, hence more evaporation, which will absorb more and more latent heat, and thereby cooling it more quickly in comparison to tea in a cup. Let us see it. This one is the saucer, plate. And we have a cup, tea in a cup, like this. What do we see? This has greater surface area and this has lesser surface area. The rate of evaporation, evaporation is higher and the rate of evaporation here is lower because of lower surface area. Then in this case, if the rate of evaporation is higher, then more and more latent heat is absorbed, and when more and more latent heat is absorbed in this case, then it cools down quickly in comparison to the tea inside the cup. Next we will discuss that why we use fan in summer days. Because we know a fan is used to blow air. And we have also discussed that when the wind speed increases, the rate of evaporation increases. When the rate of evaporation increases, then more and more latent heat is absorbed by the evaporating water molecule or the liquid, thereby cooling the surface more and more, and we feel cool. It means fan increases the wind speed, which increases the rate of evaporation and thereby cooling the surface more and more due to absorption of more and more latent heat. It means, what we know? We know the fourth point. A fan increases the wind speed, which increases the rate of evaporation, due to which more and more latent heat is absorbed by the evaporating molecule, hence cooling the surface. Here what we have discussed from our daily life, that as a result of evaporation we feel cool, or we can say cooling is caused by evaporation. The first we have discussed that when we place a spirit in our hand, then the spirit molecule vaporizes. When they vaporizes, we have studied, then they require latent heat and they will absorb the latent heat from our hand, thereby cooling it. Hence we can say that the cooling is caused by evaporation. Next, in summer days we place water inside the earthen pot to cool it. How it is so? Because we know the earthen pot has various pores into it, and when wind blows, pores, the water seeps with these pores and comes to the surface and evaporizes. When they evaporizes, then they absorb latent heat from the earthen pot and thereby cooling it. Hence, water is cool in the earthen pot in case of summer days. To the next, we have discussed that perspiration or sweating is the mechanism of our body to cool or to lower down our temperature. How it is so? When we work harder, then the sweat comes over our body and it evaporates. When it evaporates, then it will absorb the latent heat from our body and thereby cooling us. To the next, we have discussed that the cotton clothes are best for summer days because the cotton cloth absorbs the sweat of our body, which in turn evaporates in the environment by absorbing latent heat, thereby cooling us. We have discussed that the fan blows the wind, increases the rate of evaporation, and when the rate of evaporation is increased, then more and more latent heat is absorbed by the evaporating molecule, thereby cooling us. Next, we have discussed a desired cooler works better in hot, dry days. Why? Hot, it means the temperature is higher. Dry means the humidity is lower. In this both condition, the rate of evaporation increases, we have discussed. When the rate of evaporation increases, then more and more latent heat is absorbed by the gases from the gases of the cooler by the evaporating molecules and thereby cooling it more and more. When it cools more and more, then the air passes through the gases, cool down rapidly. We have discussed it is easy to drink sip tea from a saucer in comparison to cup because the saucer has greater surface area in comparison to cup. The rate of evaporation in case of saucer is higher in comparison to cup, and when the rate of evaporation is higher, then it will absorb more and more latent heat from the liquid or the tea, thereby cooling it more and more. To the next, we will do an activity to show the presence of water vapor in the atmosphere. What we have to do to show the presence of water vapor in atmosphere. How we will show the presence of water vapor in the atmosphere? In order to show it, let us have a glass tumbler. And then clean it properly. We'll take a glass tumbler and clean it properly. By cleaning it, we will dry it, and when we dry it, after that we will place ice cube into it. We will place ice cube into it. These are ice cubes. On placing ice cubes into the glass, we will observe that certain water droplets are deposited on the surface of glass. This phenomena will you observe in your daily life. When you use glass to drink the cold drink, then you observe that the water molecules are there on the surface. Then from where this water droplets come? A question arises in our mind. And we know this glass is leakage proof. It means this ice can't be melt and get out from the glass side of the glass. Then from where this water droplets come? These water droplets are the result of condensation of water vapor in the environment. How they condense? We know the water vapors condense on cooling. As a result of this ice, the immediate environment of this glass cools down. Therefore, the water vapor present in these immediate environments cool and condense on the surface of glass. By this activity, we can say that the environment or the atmosphere contain water vapor. If they are not there, they will not condense and we will not find water droplet on the glass. Hence, by this activity, what we can say? We can say that the atmosphere contains water vapor. What we know? Activity. We take a glass tumbler, and place some ice cubes into it. After certain time, we observe water droplets on the surface of container. Then a question arises. From where this water droplets come. And we know our glass is leakage proof, and in that case, these water droplets are a result of condensation of water vapors in the atmosphere. We know that this glass, these water vapors water droplets are result of condensation